Welcome to part 7 of my N8N training course. This part's focus is on large language models, and I have structured this part into 5 points. First of all, we are going to define what a large language model actually is. Then we are going to talk about the chat trigger. Then I would like to present a task. Then we are going to talk about the task solution. And by the end of this part, I would like to clarify the difference between ChatGPT and the OpenAI API. A large language model, short form LLM, is an AI model that understands, generates, and reasons with human language. And human language also includes data and data structures like JSON. So this means that when we have an LLM in our workflow, we need to do less coding. Let's have a look. In your N8N dashboard, please click on Create Workflow. Then we are going to create the manual trigger. Then we want to create some data here. So let's click on the plus. And we're going to create the set node to create some data. And let's add a field right here. Let's call the variable news article. And now the idea is that we're gonna save some text inside this variable. And let's go to a website called Hacker News. You can find it at news.ycombinator.com. And here you can click any article, for example, this one here about vibe engineering. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select all the text. I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to go back to my workflow and I'm going to paste it here as value of this variable, and I'm going to execute a step. Okay, so now the text is saved and we are going back to Canvas. So now what I want to do is I want to summarize this text with our LLM. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a node here. I'm going to call it basic LLM chain. And here we can see that the input has already arrived. Now we're going to go back to Canvas and I'm going to click here on this little plus because we need to specify what LLM we are going to use. And for this example, I'm going to use the OpenAI LLM. So I'm going to click on plus right here. I'm going to look for OpenAI chat model. I'm going to click on plus. And now I have already set up my credentials to access my OpenAI account, but let's do it together step by step. So probably you're gonna have to click this pen here. And then we are going to specify the API key. Okay, the API key is your access to OpenAI's LLM. So what you're going to do now is you need to go to openai.com. Then you need to click on sign up and you need to click on the second menu entry here, API platform. Okay. Then when you are here, you need in the left menu, you're going to scroll down. I'm sorry, you need to click on the gears here, settings first. Then you need to scroll down to API keys. and then you create a new secret key. Okay, that's called as key 3. Then you copy that key. Then you go back to your N8N workflow, and then you paste it here. Okay, and then you save it. And then when the API key was entered correctly, there is this green box up here. You click on the X, and then you go back to Canvas, okay? And now click again on the LLM chain and execute this step. So right now, this LLM node is waiting for $JSON.chatInput. This is something that we're going to talk about a little bit later. Right now, we want to take this input and summarize it. And for doing so, we change the source for the prompt. We click up here, we click on Define Below. Okay, and now we change this mode to expression, and now we use some JavaScript to refer to JSON.newsArticle. Okay, so now we have the news article text as prompt. Okay, but having this text as prompt does not really do what we want. Okay, we need to tell the LLM what to do with this text. So what we gonna type right now is we're gonna press Shift and Enter twice, and then we say summarize the following news article into one sentence. Okay, and then we click on execute step, and now we see that the when you click on the output, that we got a response, and this response is saved as this node's output. Okay, so the LLM node generates an output that equals the response from the LLM. So the response is one array with one item that has one key value per text equals, and then we get the result, which in this case is the summary of the news article. Let's click on back to Canvas here, and let's execute the entire workflow. Okay, so now when we have a look down here in the logs, we see that we started our workflows with the manual trigger, then we create some data here, and we created the news article variable that we set to this copy-pasted text. And then this news article is sent to the LLM chain node, and this LLM chain node generates an output again. Okay, and the output is the summary that came back from the OpenAI subnode. You see this nested structure here. This indicates that this node has a subnode. So when we have a click on it, then we see that the subnode is also structured into input and output. Okay, so the input is the prompt, and the output is the result that came back from OpenAI. And this result is being sent up to the LLM chain node, and this LLM chain node then generates an output. And this output is structured like this here. So you have this object where the key is text and the value is the actual summary. Until now, we only have used the manual trigger to start a workflow, which means that we click a button and then the workflow starts. And now it is time to have a look at the second type of trigger that is called the chat trigger. And this trigger also starts the workflow, but it starts the workflow when a message is received at this chat trigger. So this could mean that we chat with the workflow directly, or that we receive a chat message, for example, from a connected chat channel like Slack, Telegram, WhatsApp, etc. So let's have a look. In the N8N dashboard, please click on Create Workflow to create a new workflow. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a chat trigger by searching for chat. Then we're going to pick the third item here, and we see that the details view opens up and that no data has been generated yet by this chat node because we haven't chatted yet. Okay, so let's click on test chat here and let's write a message hello. And now the chat trigger node has generated some output, and the output is an object with 3 key value pairs. So the first key value pair is a session ID, then the action, and then the chat input. So for our purpose, we're gonna have a look at the chat input. So now we're gonna take this chat input and gonna send it to the LLM. So we're gonna click on the little plus here. And now we're gonna look for basic LLM chain. Okay. So now when we look at the input, we see that the chat input already is defined and says it's hello. Yeah, so let's have a look. Let's go back to Canvas because now we need to define what model this LLM node is going to use, and we are picking the OpenAI model. So let's click on this plus. Let's look for OpenAI. And let's pick this OpenAI chat model here. And we can now take these credentials that we already have defined in the previous example of this part, and we can go back to Canvas. Okay. And now we can again double click on this node, and we can click on execute step. And now we see that the hello from the chat input is used as prompt. And now this is the response coming back from OpenAI. Okay, let's go back to Canvas. And now we don't need to, let's say, we don't need to click on a start workflow button here. We just start the workflow by chatting, by triggering the chat trigger, and we say what's up. And now the LLM answers me, not much, and so on. Welcome to the task. So please create an N8N workflow that is started by a chat trigger. And when the user sends a chat message, this chat message will be passed to an LLM node. Then the LLM node is supposed to revert the user's chat message. So for example, if the chat message is it's raining today, the LLM is make out of it is not raining today. So the LLM's task is to revert the statement. Okay. Then after the LLM node, create a set node that receives the reverted chat message in a variable and prints out the reverted chat message is plus and then the reverted chat message. Have fun solving this task, and you may pause the video now until we compare the solutions. Welcome to the solution of the task. So first of all, please in your N8N dashboard, please click on Create Workflow. Then we are going to add the chat trigger by clicking here and then searching for chat. And then we're gonna pick the third item here. And then we're gonna click on back to canvas, and then we're gonna click on this little plus here to create the LLM node. And now let's have a look for basic LLM chain node. Okay, so now we gonna go back to canvas because now we need to specify what LLM we're gonna use. We're gonna use OpenAI in this example. So let's click on this little plus. Now we're gonna look for OpenAI. Okay, gonna pick this one. And now at this point, you should already have set up some credentials to access the OpenAI API. If you haven't done so, please go back in the video and have a look how this can be done. So let's go back to canvas, and now we can already test our chat, and we can say hi. Okay, so this works. The response is hello. How can I assist you today? And now let's have a double click here on this LLM node. And now what we are seeing is that the prompt that is sent to the OpenAI API is always exactly the chat input, but we don't want this. What we want is we want to modify this prompt a little bit before we're gonna send it to OpenAI. So what we do now is, because here we can't do anything, we can't change it, we're gonna select the second option here, which is called define below. And now we have this prompt, and inside this prompt text box we can refer to the chat input. So we're gonna click on expression here, and we're gonna say reverse the following statement. Okay, and then 2 times curly bracket $JSON.chatInput. Okay, and now we can already execute this step by clicking on this button up here. And now what OpenAI did is it reversed the characters, but we don't want to reverse the characters. We want to reverse the meaning of the following statements. So we have to be a little bit more precise in the prompt here. We have to say reverse the meaning of the following statement. Okay, so let's do this again. And now we can say the opposite of hi is goodbye. Makes perfect sense. Let's go back to canvas. And now that we have defined our prompt, we can play around with this a little bit more. We can say the pen is red, and the opposite is the pen is not red. So this makes sense. So now that our logic is defined, we're gonna create our set node that constructs the entire string. So let's have a look, or let's click on this little plus here. And now we're gonna look for the set node. Okay. And now we're gonna create a new field here. And this is then the, let's just call it message. And inside of message, we say the opposite is, then colon, and then we just refer to the input variable JSON.text. Okay, so let's click on execute step. And now we have our constructed string here. The opposite is the pen is not red. Okay, looks good. Let's go back to Canvas and let's test our framework one more time. Let's say hello. And the opposite is goodbye. Now I would like to clarify the difference between ChatGPT and the OpenAI API by sending the same prompt once to ChatGPT and once to OpenAI API. Let's have a look. Let's first send a prompt to the OpenAI API. And this prompt is how is the weather today? And now the answer is I don't have access to real-time data to find out the weather data or to find out the weather today. You can check a reliable weather website. Okay, so the answer implies that the OpenAI API does not have data that could be answered to my prompt. Now let's ask ChatGPT the same question, or in other words, let's send the same prompt to ChatGPT. So, how is the weather today? And now, in contrast to the OpenAI API, ChatGPT is actually providing me with pretty accurate information. So now the question is, why is there a difference, having in mind that OpenAI and ChatGPT are the same company? Again, why, when I send the prompt, what is the weather today, is the response so different? And the answer is that OpenAI API is an LLM and ChatGPT is an AI agent. Okay? So what exactly an AI agent is, this is something that I would like to explain in the next part, and I hope you're gonna watch it. Thank you.